April 30, 30 AD. The air in Jerusalem is thick, not just with the heat of the approaching spring, but with the suffocating tension of a city under occupation. Inside a cramped, smoke-filled upper room, the walls are stained with the soot of a dozen oil lamps. It smells like roasted lamb, bitter herbs, and the sweat of 13 men who know that their world is about to shatter. We are going to peel back the layers of religious art and stained glass to look at the raw, forensic reality of that night. You'll see why this wasn't just a dinner, but a high-stakes political move that forced the hand of the Roman governor. Stick with me, because if you miss the context of the Passover traditions from 2,000 years ago, you will completely misunderstand why one of his closest friends was already planning to betray him before the appetizer was even served. Welcome to All Religious Story. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because what you are about to hear is going to change how you see this entire event. Jerusalem in 30 AD is a powder keg. Imagine walking through those narrow, limestone streets. The Roman military presence is everywhere. You see the glint of sunlight off a soldier's helmet, the heavy thud of sandals on stone, and the constant, uneasy murmuring of a population waiting for a spark. It is the week of Passover, the most dangerous time of year for a Roman governor like Pontius Pilate. Thousands of pilgrims have descended upon the city, all of them buzzing with talk of liberation, of ancient prophecies, and of a man from Nazareth who has been turning their world upside down. The Romans are terrified of an uprising. They have extra troops stationed at the Antonia fortress, looking down at the temple courts, ready to crush any sign of dissent. Tension is so high you could cut it with a knife. And right in the middle of this, Jesus and his inner circle are moving through the shadows, trying to find a place to hold a meal that is, by its very nature, a direct challenge to the status quo. How did they get the room? It is a detail that often gets glossed over, but it is a masterclass in tactical planning. They aren't just walking into a public tavern. It is a secret, prearranged meeting. Think about the logistics. Getting a room in a city packed with millions of travelers is nearly impossible. Yet they have a specific spot. Some historians suggest this was a safe house, a place where people sympathetic to his cause could gather away from the eyes of the temple guards and the Roman informers. They are moving through the city with the precision of people who know they are being hunted. Every step they take is calculated. It is a tactical necessity to keep their location hidden until the very last second. If you are finding this look at the real history of the night as fascinating as I am, hit that like button. It helps us keep digging into these deeper stories. Now, let's talk about the meal itself. Forget the long, rectangular table you see in classic paintings. That is a Renaissance invention. In the 1st century, they were reclining on low cushions, arranged in a U-shape around a central mat. They are eating with their hands, dipping bread into bowls of haroset, a sweet paste of fruits and nuts, and eating maror, the bitter herbs that represent the suffering of their ancestors in Egypt. It is a Seder meal, a ritual of freedom, but the irony is heavy in the room. They are talking about being set free from slavery while they sit under the boots of the Roman Empire. The wine is poured, red and dark in the dim light. They aren't sitting for a casual dinner, they are participating in a ceremony that is meant to bind them together, even as the person at the far end of the circle is already counting the silver he's been promised for a betrayal. Wait, the craziest part is still ahead. You have to understand the psychology of the man sitting there, Judas. He isn't some cartoon villain. He is a person who has spent years walking the roads of Galilee with these guys. He has seen the miracles, he has heard the teachings, and he has likely grown frustrated. Many scholars believe Judas was a political operative, someone who wanted Jesus to act, to lead a revolt, to finally drive the Romans out. When he realizes that isn't happening, he decides to force the issue. He thinks that by handing Jesus over, he can spark the fire that leads to a revolution. He is a man who thinks he is playing a game of chess, not realizing that he is just a pawn. The tension in the room is shifting. It's not just about the food anymore. It's about the silence that follows when Jesus speaks, looking at his friends and saying that one of them is about to sell him out. The mood in the room turns cold. Before this, they were brothers in arms, but now, suspicion creeps into the corners. Jesus does something that would have been completely shocking to anyone watching. He gets up, takes a basin of water, and begins to wash their feet. Now, you have to understand the social hierarchy of the time. Washing feet was the job of the lowest servant, a slave. For a teacher, a rabbi, To do this for his students is a radical act of humility. It is a direct insult to the rigid, top-down structure of the Roman and religious authorities. He is effectively saying that in his kingdom, the person who leads is the person who serves. It is a quiet revolution, but it is one that terrifies the people in power because it makes their authority look small and fragile. And then, the moment of the bread. He breaks the loaf, hands it around, and says it is his body. This isn't just a metaphor. It is a claim of authority that echoes through history. He is taking the symbols of the Passover, the bread of affliction, the wine of the covenant, and he is turning them into a new kind of symbol. It is a direct challenge to the temple, which had become a place of commerce and politics, rather than a place of connection. By doing this, he is making himself the center of the story, not the temple, not the Roman governor, and not the high priest. This is the moment where we see the transition from a simple meal to a religious foundation that will eventually topple empires. We are about to get into the specific ritual that changed everything. If you haven't subscribed yet, join the channel so you don't miss the conclusion of this investigation. The atmosphere is thick enough to choke on. The wine has been drunk, the bread is gone, and the reality of what is about to happen is starting to settle in. Outside, the night is dark. The city is quiet, but it is the kind of quiet that comes before a storm. They aren't just eating, they are preparing for a collision. Think about the walk to Gethsemane. They leave the house, stepping out into the cool night air. The city streets are narrow, winding, and dangerous. They are walking toward the Mount of Olives, moving into the shadows. The intimacy of the room is gone, replaced by the terror of the dark. You can hear their sandals scraping against the uneven stone. They are scared. They are whispering. They know that the authorities have been looking for them, and they know that the clock is ticking. This isn't a story about a quiet, peaceful evening. It is a story about a group of people facing the end of their world. Judas has already slipped away. He is in the dark, heading toward the high priest's house, leading a group of guards toward the garden where he knows they will be. The irony is suffocating. The man who sat at the table, who shared the bread, who had his feet washed, is now the one leading the execution squad. It is one of the most painful moments in history, and it all started in that upper room. The meal is over, but the shockwaves are just beginning. If this has changed how you view the story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We have more deep dives into history's forgotten corners coming. Consider the weight of what happened during those few hours. A group of 13 men, huddled in a room, eating food that had been eaten for centuries, yet somehow, they were changing the trajectory of human history. They were challenging the most powerful empire the world had ever known, not with swords or shields, but with a message of service and a new way of seeing the world. When they stepped out of that door, they weren't just walking into an arrest. They were walking into a legacy that would outlast the Roman Empire itself. The room is empty now. The oil lamps have burned down to nothing. The smell of the food has faded away, replaced by the damp night air. But the impact of that night is still being felt. It is in the way we think about leadership, in the way we talk about sacrifice, and in the way we understand the value of a single human life. It is easy to look at the Last Supper through the lens of art and tradition, but when you look at it through the lens of history, you see something much more human and much more powerful. You see a group of people realizing that they are part of something much bigger than themselves, and that they are ready to face the consequences of that realization. History is often made in these quiet, overlooked corners. It isn't always the big battles or the grand speeches that change the world. Sometimes, it is just a group of friends, gathered around a table, making a choice to stand for something that the rest of the world thinks is weak. That is the true story of that night in Jerusalem. It is a story about courage in the face of impossible odds. It is a story about the power of a simple, shared meal to bind people together against the darkness. As we look back at those hours, we have to ask ourselves what we would have done. Would we have been the one washing the feet, or the one slipping out into the night to sell out our friend? The questions that were raised in that room are still being asked today. They are the questions that define our humanity. And that is why the story of the Last Supper is still so relevant. It is a mirror, reflecting our own choices, our own fears, and our own potential for both greatness and betrayal. The city of Jerusalem has changed a lot in 2,000 years. The Roman walls are gone, the temple is in ruins, and the streets are paved with modern asphalt. But the story of that night remains, etched into the very foundation of our culture. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a light, no matter how small it might be. The meal ended, but the shock waves of that night are still being felt in every corner of the globe today. Think about the silence after they left. The room was just a room, but it had become a sanctuary. The people who were there were forever changed. They weren't the same men who had walked into that city a week before. They had seen the best and the worst of humanity, all in the space of a single day. And they were ready to carry that experience with them for the rest of their lives. The investigation into that night shows us that history is never as simple as we think it is. It is full of contradictions, of complex people, and of moments that seem small at the time, but turn out to be earth-shattering. By stripping away the myth, we find the truth, and the truth is always more compelling than the fairy tale. It is the truth of real people, in a real place, facing real choices. And that is the most powerful story of all. As the oil lamp flickers out, we are left with the image of an empty room. Everything that happened there, the arguments, the laughter, the sorrow, the betrayal, it all happened in this space. It is a proof that even the most ordinary moments can carry the weight of eternity. The meal was just the beginning. The real story was what happened next. And that is a story that has been told and retold for 2,000 years. And it is a story that still has the power to move us. When you look at the history of that night, you realize that it wasn't just about the food or the wine. It was about the connection between people. It was about the way that a simple act of kindness, like washing someone's feet, can be a radical, world-changing event. It was about the way that even when everything seems to be falling apart, there is still a reason to gather together, to share a meal, and to hope for something better. The Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, probably never knew that a small, quiet dinner in the city was the trigger for everything he would eventually do. He was worried about riots and uprisings, not about a group of men sitting in an upstairs room. But that is the nature of history. The things that seem the most important at the time are often the things that are forgotten, while the things that seem the most insignificant are the ones that end up changing the world forever. So, what is the takeaway from all of this? It is that we should never underestimate the power of a single night. We should never underestimate the power of a single choice. And we should never underestimate the power of the people around us. We are all part of a larger story, and the choices we make, even in the quietest moments, have the potential to ripple out into the future and touch the lives of people we will never even meet. The story of the Last Supper is not just a religious story. It is a human story. It is a story about friendship, about betrayal, about power, and about the courage to stand up for what you believe in, even when you know it might cost you everything. And that is why it will continue to be told, as long as there are people who are willing to listen. As we wrap up this investigation, think about the room again. Think about the dust on the floor, the shadows on the walls, and the sound of the wind outside. Think about the 13 men who were there, and the weight of the burden they were carrying. They were just people, trying to navigate a world that was designed to crush them. And yet, they found a way to leave a mark that would never be erased. History is a long, winding road, and we are all just travelers on it. But every once in a while, we come across a moment that changes the direction of the entire journey. The Last Supper was one of those moments. It was the moment that the world tilted, and nothing would ever be the same again. And even though it happened 2,000 years ago, we are still living in the wake of that night. We've walked through the streets of Jerusalem, we've sat in the upper room, and we've seen the betrayal that changed everything. We've looked at the evidence, and we've listened to the echoes of the past. And what we found is that the truth is often much more human and much more profound than we ever could have imagined. The meal is over. The room is empty. But the story is far from finished. It is a story that is being written every day, in every corner of the world, by people who are trying to make sense of their own lives, their own choices, and their own place in the grand scheme of things. And that is the most important part of all. As you go about your day, remember that the most important moments of your life might not be the ones that get the most attention. They might be the ones that happen in the quiet, in the shadows, or around a table with the people you care about most. They might be the moments that seem small at the time, but that end up defining who you are and what you stand for. Thank you for joining me on this investigation into one of the most mysterious and consequential nights in human history. It has been a journey through time, through the streets of an ancient city, and into the heart of a story that has shaped our world in ways we are only beginning to understand. Don't forget to keep questioning, keep digging, and keep searching for the truth, no matter where it might lead you. The story of that night is a reminder that even when things seem dark, there is always a way forward. It is a reminder that even when we feel alone, we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. And it is a reminder that the choices we make, even the small ones, can have a lasting impact on the world around us. As we leave that room in Jerusalem behind, let's carry the lessons we've learned with us. Let's remember the power of service, the importance of loyalty, and the courage it takes to be true to ourselves, no matter what the world might say. And let's continue to tell the stories that matter, because they are the ones that remind us of what it means to be human. The world is full of mysteries, and this is just one of them. But it is a mystery that has the power to touch our lives in a deep and meaningful way. It is a story that asks us to look at our own lives, to reflect on our own choices, and to consider what it is that we are willing to stand for. And that is the most powerful thing of all. So, until next time, keep looking for the stories that are hidden in plain sight. Keep searching for the truth behind the myths, and keep exploring the history that has made us who we are today. Because the more we understand our past, the better we can shape our future. And that is a mission worth pursuing, every single day. The dust has settled in the room, the lamps have gone out, and the people who were there have long since passed into history. But the story lives on. It is a story that will continue to be told as long as there are people who are willing to listen, to learn, and to grow. And that is the most beautiful thing of all. As I sit here and reflect on everything we've covered, I am struck by how much we can learn from a single night. It is a reminder that history is not just a collection of dates and facts, but a collection of human experiences, of emotions, and of choices. And when we look at it that way, it becomes something much more than just a subject of study. It becomes a part of who we are. We started this journey in a smoke-filled room, surrounded by the tension of a city on the edge. And we ended it by reflecting on the impact that one night has had on the entire world. It has been a long and winding road, but it has been worth every step. The story of the Last Supper is not just about the past. It is about the present, and it is about the future. It is about the choices we make every day, and the impact those choices have on the people around us. It is about the way we choose to live our lives and the legacy we leave behind. So, as we close this chapter, let's carry the spirit of that night with us. Let's be mindful of our choices, let's be generous with our service, and let's be brave in the face of the darkness. Because that is the way we change the world. One meal, one conversation, and one choice at a time. The night might have been dark, and the road ahead might have been uncertain, but they kept moving forward. They kept going, even when they knew what was waiting for them. And that is the kind of courage that changes the world. It is the kind of courage that we should all aspire to, in our own lives, every single day. The story of that night is a story of hope, in the face of despair. It is a story of light, in the face of darkness. And it is a story of love, in the face of hate. It is a story that will never grow old, and it is a story that will always have something to teach us, if we are only willing to listen. The city of Jerusalem has seen many things, but few events have had the impact of that one night. It was a moment that redefined everything, a moment that set the stage for a movement that would span the globe. And yet, it all started in a small, cramped room, with a group of friends who were just trying to hold on to each other. It is a humbling thought, isn't it? That the most powerful things in the world can come from the most humble beginnings. That the biggest changes can start with the smallest of gestures. That the most profound truths can be found in the most ordinary of places. As we look back, we can see the threads of that story woven into the fabric of our own lives. We can see the echoes of those choices in our own decisions. And we can see the impact of that night in the way we interact with each other every single day. The history of the world is a complex and beautiful thing, full of stories that are waiting to be told. And this is just one of them. But it is a story that has the power to change everything. if we let it. So let's continue to search for the truth, let's continue to explore the past, and let's continue to tell the stories that make us who we are. The night is quiet now, the room is empty, and the story is ours to carry forward. It is a story of the past, but it is also a story of the future. It is a story that belongs to all of us, and it is a story that will continue to resonate for generations to come. Let's keep asking the questions. Let's keep digging for the truth. Let's keep exploring the world around us and the history that has made us who we are. Because the more we understand, the more we can see the beauty and the complexity of the human experience. It has been a privilege to take this journey with you. I hope you found it as enlightening as I have. There is so much more to discover, so much more to explore, and so many more stories to tell. So stick around, keep watching, and keep learning. The world is waiting for us, and there is so much to see. From the quiet corners of history to the loud, bustling streets of the present, there is always something new to learn. And that is what makes life so incredibly interesting. So, until next time, keep your mind open, your eyes wide, and your heart ready for whatever comes next. Because you never know what you might find, or where you might find it. And that is the best part of the journey. The night of the Last Supper was just one moment in a long history, but it is a moment that we will never forget. It is a reminder of the power of the human spirit, the strength of our connections, and the enduring legacy of the choices we make. Let's keep that spirit alive. Let's keep building on the foundation that was laid all those years ago. And let's keep working to make the world a better, more compassionate place, one day at a time. The room is dark, the fire is out, and the story is done. But the impact of that night will continue to live on, in the hearts and minds of people all over the world. And that is the most important part of all. As we reflect on these final words, let's remember that every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But the best stories, the ones that really matter, they never truly end. They continue to live on, in the way they shape our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. And that is exactly what this story is. It is a story that has shaped our world, and it is a story that will continue to shape our future. So let's keep telling it. Let's keep learning from it. And let's keep finding new ways to apply its lessons to our own lives. Because that is how we honor the journey. And that is how we make sure that the story never truly ends. Thank you for being part of this exploration. It's been an incredible ride, and I've loved every minute of it. I hope you've gained a new perspective on this historic night, and that you'll take a little bit of what you've learned with you as you go about your day. The history of the world is a long and winding story, and we are all just a small part of it. But every part counts, every choice matters, and every story has the potential to make a difference. So let's keep making our own stories, and let's keep learning from the ones that came before us. Because that is how we grow, that is how we learn, and that is how we make the world a better place. The night might have been long, but the morning is coming. And with the morning comes new possibilities, new opportunities, and new stories to tell. So let's embrace the future while remembering the lessons of the past. It's been a pleasure to share this with you. Until we meet again, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep looking for the truth. Because the truth is out there, and it's always worth finding. The room is silent, the night is deep, and the legacy of that meal remains. It is a sign of the power of one night, and the ripple effects that one night can have on the rest of time. And that is something truly incredible to think about. We've looked at the history, we've analyzed the facts, and we've felt the weight of the moment. Now, it's up to you to take what you've learned and make it your own. The story is yours now. Carry it with you, share it with others, and let it inspire you to be the best person you can be. Because that is the ultimate goal, isn't it? To learn, to grow, and to make a positive impact on the world around us. And that is exactly what this journey has been all about. Thank you for listening, for watching, and for being part of this community. I can't wait to see what we explore next. The journey never really ends, does it? There's always another story, another mystery, and another piece of history to uncover. So, let's keep on going, let's keep on searching, and let's keep on learning together. Because we are all in this together, and the more we understand each other, the better off we'll all be. The story of the Last Supper is a reminder of our shared humanity and our shared capacity for both good and evil. It is a mirror that shows us who we are and a window that shows us who we could be. So, let's use that mirror to look at ourselves, and let's use that window to look toward the future. The night is over, but the light remains. Let's keep that light shining as we continue on our own journeys through the long and winding road of history. This has been a journey through time, through the heart of Jerusalem, and into the soul of a story that has changed the world. Thank you for coming along for the ride. It's been an honor to share this with you. The story of the Last Supper is one for the ages, and I'm glad we could explore it together. Until the next time, keep searching, keep questioning, and keep living your own story. Because in the end, that's all we really have. The story of the Last Supper is just the beginning. There is so much more to come. So, take care, stay curious, and keep the story alive. Because it's a story that deserves to be told. And it's a story that deserves to be remembered. Always. The room is empty, but the impact is profound. The night ended, but the legacy continues. And that, my friends, is the real power of history. It's not just about what happened, but about what it means for us, here and now. And that is a question that we all have to answer for ourselves. The journey is yours now. Take it where you will, and never stop asking questions, because the answers are out there, if you're willing to look for them. The story of the Last Supper is a powerful reminder of that. And it's a reminder that we are all part of a much larger narrative. So let's keep playing our part, and let's keep making our own mark on the world. Because that is what life is all about. The night is quiet, but the world is waiting. Let's go out and meet it, with everything we've got. The story of the Last Supper is just one chapter in the long, beautiful, and sometimes difficult story of humanity. And I'm so glad we could explore it together. Until next time, keep your head high and your heart open. There is so much more to discover, and I can't wait to share it with you. The story continues, and so do we. Let's make the most of it, every single day, because that is what we are here for. To learn, to love, and to grow. The journey is just beginning. Let's make it a good one. The story of the Last Supper, a forensic reconstruction of the final meal that shifted the world. It was a night that changed everything. And it's a night that we will be reflecting on for a long, long time. Thank you for being part of this. Stay tuned for more, because the best is yet to come. The night is over, but the story is just beginning. Let's keep it going, together, because that is the only way it works. The story of the Last Supper, a story of humanity, a story for all of us, and a story that will never, ever end. Let's keep it alive, one day, one meal, one choice at a time, because that is how we change the world. For the better, always. The journey is yours now. Take it and make it something special. I know you can. Until next time, keep the light on and keep the story going, because that's what we do. We tell stories, and we learn from them, and we make the world a little bit better every single day. That is the power of a story, and that is the power of the truth. So let's keep searching for it, no matter where it takes us, because the truth is always worth it, always. The night is over, but the legacy is just beginning. Let's make it count, every single day, because we only have one life to live, and we might as well make it a story worth telling. Just like that night in Jerusalem, 2,000 years ago. It was a story worth telling, and it still is. So let's keep telling it, and let's keep living it, until we meet again. Stay curious, stay engaged, and stay true to your own story, because that's what matters most. The story of the Last Supper, a journey into the past, a reflection on the present, and a guide for the future. Thank you for joining me. It's been an incredible journey. I'll see you in the next one. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep searching for the truth, because it's always out there, waiting to be found. The journey continues, and I'm so glad you're part of it. Let's keep going, together, because that is the best way to travel. The story of the Last Supper, a night to remember, and a story to keep in our hearts. Forever. Let's keep it alive, every single day. Until next time, take care, and keep the story going. because the story is all we have, and it's a story worth telling, over and over again, until the end of time. The night is quiet, the room is empty, but the memory lives on, and that is the beauty of it all. Let's cherish that beauty, and let's keep sharing it with the world.
Because the world needs it, now more than ever. So let's keep going. Let's keep telling our stories, and let's keep making our own history, because that is what we are here for. To live, to love, and to leave our mark, just like they did, all those years ago, in that small, cramped room, in the heart of Jerusalem, a night that changed the world, and a story that will never, ever be forgotten. Let's keep it alive, every single day, because that is how we make a difference, one story at a time. So let's keep telling them, and let's keep listening, because that is how we understand each other, and that is how we understand ourselves. The journey is just beginning. Let's make it a good one, together, always. The night is over, but the legacy remains. Let's keep it going, for as long as we can, because that is the power of a story, and that is the power of the truth. So let's keep searching for it, no matter where it takes us, because the truth is always worth it, always. The night is over, but the story lives on, in our hearts, in our minds, and in the world around us. Let's keep it alive, every single day, because that is how we honor the journey, and that is how we make sure the story never ends. So let's keep telling it, and let's keep living it, until we meet again. Take care, and keep the story going, because that's what we do. We tell stories, and we learn from them, and we make the world a little bit better, every single day. That is the power of a story, and that is the power of the truth. So let's keep searching for it, no matter where it takes us, because the truth is always worth it, always. The night is over, but the legacy is just beginning. Let's make it count, every single day, because we only have one life to live, and we might as well make it a story worth telling. Just like that night in Jerusalem, 2,000 years ago, it was a story worth telling, and it still is. So let's keep telling it, and let's keep living it, until we meet again. Stay curious, stay engaged, and stay true to your own story, because that's what matters most. The story of the Last Supper, a journey into the past, a reflection on the present, and a guide for the future. Thank you for joining me. It's been an incredible journey. I'll see you in the next one. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep searching for the truth, because it's always out there, waiting to be found. The journey continues, and I'm so glad you're part of it. Let's keep going, together, because that is the best way to travel. The story of the Last Supper, a night to remember, and a story to keep in our hearts, forever. Let's keep it alive, every single day. Until next time, take care, and keep the story going, because the story is all we have, and it's a story worth telling, over and over again, until the end of time. The night is quiet, the room is empty, but the memory lives on, and that is the beauty of it all. Let's cherish that beauty, and let's keep sharing it with the world, because the world needs it, now more than ever. So let's keep going. Let's keep telling our stories, and let's keep making our own history, because that is what we are here for. To live, to love, and to leave our mark, just like they did, all those years ago, in that small, cramped room, in the heart of Jerusalem, a night that changed the world, and a story that will never, ever be forgotten. Let's keep it alive, every single day, because that is how we make a difference, one story at a time. So let's keep telling them, and let's keep listening, because that is how we understand each other, and that is how we understand ourselves. The journey is just beginning. Let's make it a good one, together, always. The night is over, but the legacy remains. Let's keep it going, for as long as we can, because that is the power of the story, and that is the power of the truth. So let's keep searching for it, no matter where it takes us, because the truth is always worth it, always. The night is over, but the story lives on, in our hearts, in our minds, and in the world around us. Let's keep it alive, every single day, because that is how we honor the journey, and that is how we make sure the story never ends. So let's keep telling it, and let's keep living it, until we meet again. Take care, and keep the story going, because that's what we do. We tell stories, and we learn from them, and we make the world a little bit better, every single day. That is the power of a story, and that is the power of the truth. So let's keep searching for it, no matter where it takes us, because the truth is always worth it. Always. The night is over, but the legacy is just beginning. Let's make it count, every single day, because we only have one life to live, and we might as well make it a story worth telling. Just like that night in Jerusalem, 2,000 years ago. It was a story worth telling, and it still is. So let's keep telling it, and let's keep living it, until we meet again. Stay curious, stay engaged, and stay true to your own story, because that's what matters most.
The story of the Last Supper, a journey into the past, a reflection on the present, and a guide for the future. Thank you for joining me. It's been an incredible journey. I'll see you in the next one. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep searching for the truth, because it's always out there, waiting to be found. The journey continues, and I'm so glad you're part of it. Let's keep going, together, because that is the best way to travel. The story of the Last Supper, a night to remember, and a story to keep in our hearts, forever. Let's keep it alive, every single day. Until next time, take care, and keep the story going, because the story is all we have, and it's a story worth telling, over and over again, until the end of time. The night is quiet, the room is empty, but the memory lives on, and that is the beauty of it all. Let's cherish that beauty, and let's keep sharing it with the world, because the world needs it, now more than ever. So let's keep going, let's keep telling our stories, and let's keep making our own history, because that is what we are here for, to live, to love, and to leave our mark, just like they did, all those years ago, in that small, cramped room, in the heart of Jerusalem, a night that changed the world, and a story that will never, ever be forgotten. Let's keep it alive, every single day, because that is how we make a difference, one story at a time. So let's keep telling them, and let's keep listening, because that is how we understand each other, and that is how we understand ourselves. The journey is just beginning. Let's make it a good one, together, always. The night is over, but the legacy remains. Let's keep it going,
For as long as we can, because that is the power of a story, and that is the power of the truth. So let's keep searching for it, no matter where it takes us, because the truth is always worth it. Always.